In this video, we're going to look at improving efficiency within a business. Efficiency and productivity are interconnected with each other, and we will explore what each means and why they are so important. When we talk about the efficiency of a business, we're talking about how well it uses its resources to produce outputs. This could be how well an Uber driver manages their trips, or how many products are being produced in a factory. Regardless of the situation, efficiency is all about how a business uses its inputs to produce its outputs. How much output does it get for the resources and labour used to produce it? So basically, if a business produces its outputs using fewer inputs compared to other similar businesses, then it is described as efficient. Sometimes the efficiency of a business can be measured by looking at the cost per unit. If a business does not use many resources to produce one individual product or service, then its cost per unit will be low. To all the teachers out there, show all of these videos without any ads and gain access to our growing library of over 500 teaching worksheets. Why not visit BizzWizard.co.uk to find out more? An inefficient business, on the other hand, will have higher unit costs and use more inputs to produce its outputs. Put another way, efficiency is achieved when production is maximised based on a given level of the factors of production. We've looked at these factors in another video, but to remind you, they are capital, land, labour, and enterprise. So what does productivity actually have to do with any of this? Well, productivity is very much connected with efficiency. Before we go any further, it's important that you understand that the level of production and the level of productivity are not the same thing. We have looked in other videos at production processes, turning materials and ingredients into products or even services. The level of production is how much is actually produced by a single business. Using our previous example, this would be how many sandwiches are actually made in total. Productivity, on the other hand, or at least labour productivity, is calculated as the output divided by the number of employees doing the task. So as an example, if a sandwich shop makes 1,000 sandwiches in one day with only 10 employees, then each employee makes an average of 100 sandwiches. If another sandwich shop can only make 800 sandwiches a day with the same number of people, then this means each employee is making 80 sandwiches a day. So this means that the second sandwich shop is less productive and therefore less efficient. In other words, the more output produced or even achieved with a certain number of employees, the more productive the business is. If they can increase productivity, then they can increase efficiency. Increase efficiency, and you are more competitive within your industry. In this video, we're going to meet Clarissa, who is a delivery person for a popular restaurant called Funky Foodies. Funky Foodies started its meal delivery service during the lockdown due to the pandemic in 2020. But as the restrictions eased, they continued to provide a delivery service which has proved to be incredibly popular. The thing is that Funky Foodies' delivery service is pretty inefficient. It's not just me that says that, but Clarissa would also agree. When she first started delivering meals, she was using her own bike. She'd had it for years, but it only just did the job. The other delivery riders were also using their own bikes, and often at least one of them would experience a puncture or lose a chain. Clarissa is finding it a real struggle to get all the meals delivered on time, and there are often complaints that the food was cold and that it took ages to arrive. Clarissa kept getting lost when she had to deliver to parts of the city that she didn't know particularly well. This was also an issue for the other riders. Clarissa and the team are only managing to deliver a maximum of 50 meals a night between 5 of them. When you think about what this means, it means their productivity level is only 10 deliveries per rider per night. Clarissa has heard that another restaurant delivery service handles 100 deliveries a night between only 4 riders. So these competitors are delivering 25 meals per rider per night, considerably more than Funky Foodies. As you can see, Clarissa and her team are not particularly productive, and therefore they're not very efficient, especially in comparison to their rivals. But this isn't particularly Clarissa's fault, or even the fault of the restaurant owner. With efficiency, it is one of those things. Inefficiencies may occur, but often this just needs to be addressed. Many other businesses across the globe will be in a similar situation, with increasing efficiency being one of their primary objectives. Bring this video and over 100 more to life with fun, interactive games, quizzes and case studies. Why not try the first 25 completely free by visiting BizzWizard.co.uk. Let's look at some of the reasons why increasing efficiency is actually so important. If you can maximise productivity, this means your business will have a lower average cost per unit. That means that the business could decide to pass on these savings by reducing the selling price. In theory, this should increase the demand for your product, meaning higher revenues. Or it could decide to continue selling at the same price and make a greater profit margin per unit, leading, hopefully, to higher profits. It could decide to reinvest these cost savings, known as efficiency gains, to improve the quality of its products or services, leading to a better reputation, and then there is added value for the customer. This is Clarissa's boss, Johnny, the restaurant owner. He prides himself on the quality of his service and the deliciousness of the meals from his restaurant, and he wants his customers and his staff like Clarissa to be happy. So Johnny calls a meeting with Clarissa to work out how things can be improved and how everything can be a little more efficient. If we were there in this meeting with Johnny and Clarissa, what might we recommend that they try to improve their efficiency? Firstly, to improve labour efficiency, a business might decide to increase staff training so that they are more highly skilled. This should mean that there is less waste and staff are more motivated, meaning greater productivity. More is accomplished per employee. Alternatively, the business might decide to adopt a different management style in an effort to improve labour productivity. Depending on the circumstances, this could be a more democratic and cooperative style, or maybe a more autocratic and top-down in style, with directions coming from above in the organisational structure. A business may decide to increase its investments in machines such as technology and automation, again in an effort to improve productivity. This means basically making the most out of your equipment and machinery, and this in turn will support employees to be more productive. So, you can see that there are many ways we could recommend Johnny and Clarissa change their operations to be more efficient, but there are also a number of other important factors which will determine whether Funky Foodies can actually improve efficiency. Each of the video courses over at BizzWizard.co.uk also includes an interactive business case study that applies the knowledge learnt to a real-world scenario. There are over 1,000 multiple-choice questions, each with detailed feedback, which tests students' understanding of the content. Why not visit BizzWizard.co.uk to find out more? The efficiency of any business will depend on a number of important factors, so let's explore each of these in a little more detail. Firstly, how well employees are managed will play an important role. If they are managed well and they are motivated, then they should produce more, and therefore, again, the cost per unit should start to become lower. If every employee is in a good mood and works just a little faster, each rider will deliver a couple more meals each. These extra deliveries will soon add up, and productivity will increase. It will also depend on how good suppliers are. If suppliers are reliable and provide good quality supplies, then this helps keep costs lower and can actually improve productivity. If a business has good quality equipment and up-to-date technology, this should also help to keep the costs of production low and again, can improve efficiency. Of course, it also depends on how products are produced. If items are handmade, this is likely to be expensive. If products are mass-produced, this can mean production is more efficient simply because you're not making one at a time. You're making loads. So you can see there's a lot that can influence the productivity levels within a given business. Heading back to Clarissa's meeting, her first suggestion to Johnny that she believes may improve the quality of the food deliveries that her and her team are making is to invest in better quality thermal delivery bags. Next, she says that she'd love some sort of route planner that will help her work out the best route, but that already has the delivery locations loaded in. Johnny agrees that although it will be a large investment, he will hire a developer to build an app and a website for customers to use to make their orders, which will feed directly into smartphones provided by the restaurant for Clarissa and the whole team. Finally, Clarissa tells Johnny that a lot of the local delivery people are now using e-bikes. You know, bikes powered by electricity, to make their deliveries much quicker. There are several very hilly areas in the city, and this would make it much easier for Clarissa and her team to get around and reach customers' addresses quickly and more efficiently. Clarissa feels that if the wait time for orders comes down, customers will be impressed and much more likely to order from Funky Foodies again. The shorter journey times means Clarissa can be much more productive, and her team can get the number of deliveries per rider they are achieving higher, meaning they are increasing their productivity. It would seem that Johnny is happy to do whatever is needed to improve the efficiency of Funky Foodies deliveries, but there are some important disadvantages that he and any other business looking to improve efficiency must consider. When it comes to labour, the business will need to weigh up whether the cost of training offsets the benefit from increased labour productivity. It's also important to note that not all staff will be happy about receiving training. They may be resistant to any changes, or they may only be prepared to undergo training if it leads to higher wages for them. With capital productivity, the business needs to consider, do the investment costs offset the gains from greater efficiency? If a piece of equipment is purchased with the aim of improving efficiency, does the output generated actually equate to the value that was laid out to purchase the equipment? There may even be objections from certain stakeholders, such as shareholders. They may not be prepared to sacrifice their dividends, the annual payments they receive, to allow the business to reinvest profits back in, even though this could lead to higher profits in the longer term. And finally, from an enterprise perspective, does demand actually exist for the increased output? What I mean here is it's all well and good aiming to improve productivity and therefore efficiency, to produce more and more. But is there actually a customer waiting to buy this increased output level? If there isn't, then this could increase waste, which is actually inefficient. And instead of creating economies of scale, over-expansion, without the actual sales to support it, could result in what we call diseconomies of scale, meaning as the business gets bigger and produces more, they're actually making less money. Clarissa is absolutely delighted that Johnny has agreed to all of these changes. Jumping forward to just a month later, all of Clarissa's recommendations have now been put in place. She is so much happier. Her new e-bike makes it so much quicker, the thermal backpack is great at keeping food hot, and the new app functionality makes it so much easier for Clarissa to find the addresses that she needs. The customers would actually seem to be just as happy, and the team are now delivering 18 meals per rider per evening. It's not 25, as high as their competition, but it is a significant improvement. If you remember at the beginning of the video, they were only delivering an average of 10 meals per rider. So they have actually increased their productivity by 80%, which is pretty impressive. If you get a question about productivity and efficiency in the exam, it's a good idea to look at the information you're given and to think of ways of improving efficiency by a combination of investing in technology and by encouraging and motivating staff to work harder, and sometimes even smarter. As we've seen with Clarissa, often employees may come up with some of the best solutions themselves, as they have first-hand understanding of what's stopping them from doing their jobs efficiently. And they are the ones that know how they can actually be more productive. So, my advice would be to listen to them, give them a voice, hear what they have to say. This has been the BizzWizard. See you in the next video.